Hey everybody, what's going on? Hope we're all doing well. So I think back to the start of my self-improvement journey several years back, and there's a lot of things that I've fortunately improved on, a lot of things that I've overcome, and some results that have been made that I didn't think I'd be able to make. So there's a lot of great things to reflect back on, but there's also some things that I reflect back on that I want to learn from to not do with my journey moving forward. And so today's topic is over the biggest mistake that I've made so far along my self-improvement journey. And I'm going to share this today with you all so that you can hopefully avoid this pitfall, or if you're in the midst of this mistake, or I would call it a mistake, then you can kind of catch yourself and pull yourself back into a more balanced reality. So I just kind of gave it away there. The biggest thing that I look back on that I think to myself, well, I could have approached differently, is how I didn't really give myself the ability to have much fun. I haven't for the first several years of being along, improving myself each and every day. Oh my goodness, if I share my routine, I'm just so militant in my approach to self-improvement. I have been so far. And I don't think that I necessarily need to have done that. I didn't necessarily have to do that in order to get a lot of the results that I've gotten so far. And my approach was to effectively cut off all vices, or at least just about every vice. Go to bed at the same time every day, wake up at the same time every day, eat the same healthy foods every day. Just have this routine that I didn't deviate from. And if I deviated from this routine, I would get so bothered by it. I'd get so wigged out. I'd think that, wow, I'm just being so lazy. And my self-talk, what I was saying to myself was negative. I had taken this thing that initially started as being positive, this self-improvement journey, and it was starting to become, I was becoming a bit too obsessed that I didn't let myself have periods of enjoyment along that process. And like many of you might feel who have had similar struggles, you start to, if you maybe have one slip up, you indulge in a vice that you know you're not going to do again, or at least you don't do frequently. If you do it the once, you get so hard on yourself. You start talking bad to yourself. You start being like, man, I'm getting soft, man. So it can get out of control if you don't allow yourself to have a bit of fun here and there. And that means different things for different people. So I'm not necessarily going to go and define that as a universal definition of what having fun means. Okay, I'll give it, the universal definition of having fun means sometimes you allow yourself to step outside of your usual routine. That's it. Take with that as you may. Of course, exercise the best judgment that you can in the decisions you make so that you can continue that upward trajectory. Because as we know, sometimes it only takes one time, one slip up to change the course of your life. But I don't mean that. I just mean doing things differently. I mean allowing yourself to stay out later on a weekday, or if you've cut out alcohol and you've been very good for a year, maybe on New Year's Eve or on a special occasion you can have a drink, and you might get those negative feelings that accompany indulging in something that you might consider bad because it's not super disciplined. But there's a lot of negatives that can come with not allowing yourself to occasionally step outside of your routine. The most glaringly obvious one to me is burnout. So, right, we want to continue this journey of self-improvement this upward trajectory throughout our lives. But it's like resting after a workout. You can't just keep banging it out day in, day out without increasing your risk of injury. Does that mean you're ever going to get injured? Maybe if you're lucky, you won't. Just like maybe you can put your foot to the floor with the self-improvement stuff and never get burnt out. But if you allow yourself to have little rests along your journey, so improvement, rest, improve, rest, improve, rest, you are still on that overall upward trajectory, you're probably going to progress further than you would ultimately, because maybe you start out, right, you're really strong, maybe you're even exponentially increasing, and then, or even if you don't go down, maybe you just flatline. So you're here at this level, right, and you flatline for years to come. Whereas if you go, you start out, rest, start out, rest, start out, rest, start out, rest. See, it might take you longer to get up here, which this example leveled out at here, but you're still higher later on than you would be if you just hammered continuously and didn't allow yourself to have any fun. So put succinctly, you could say sniffing the roses, right? Sniff the roses along the journey and like allow yourself to take a step away sometimes from what you're doing, because that's important for the long term. Don't think about it as you're getting soft or you're getting lazy. Think about it as a necessary rest in order to recharge, to continue along your self-improvement path. So bringing this all back to where we started. In the several years that I've been along this track, that is the strongest, that is the thing that I look back on the most and say, I didn't necessarily have to go along this pathway and maybe just level out, as opposed to I could have done it more strategically and allowed myself to have some grace with having rest along the way and not thinking that I'm bad because I'm giving myself rest days, or I'm maybe doing things on a special occasion that I wouldn't normally do, right? So I want to leave you with that. If you are experiencing that, if you're along that path and you're just not letting yourself sniff the roses or have any fun along the journey, I really encourage you to do some inner work to ask yourself why, and also challenge yourself and allow yourself to maybe go out with friends, treat yourself to something. Because if you're always just foot to the floor, you could very likely burn out, but at the very least, you're not going to have as much enjoyment along the process, which progress is super important and keeps us happy and fulfilled. But progress without any rest leads to irritability and just not having as good of a time. Thank you for watching and listening. Hopefully this gave you value. Let me know if it did, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.